Hi there. So I just want to do a quick video on how I have gone about securing and recruiting volunteers for our fall, winter, and spring retreat and rental group weekends. The summer is one thing when we have a whole lot of staff, that are paid and they're here, and it's great. But once we get into the school year rhythm and routine, we rely heavily on volunteers to help us in the kitchen, to help us with housekeeping and cleaning, to even help us with some programming needs, such as working at the rock wall or helping with the sound booth back in the chapel. So it's really important that we stay proactive in recruiting volunteers and have a plan on how we are going to do that. So I just wanted to share with you and what my plan has been and what has worked fairly well for me. So basically, I look at the first half of the school year. I break the school year into two halves, basically roughly, like August through November. Typically, December is a pretty quiet time at camp, so I'll include that in there. And then once we hit January, I'll probably look mid-January through the end of the spring, through April, May. And on the screen here, you'll see this is an example of a message or something I might send out to potential volunteers. We'll get to this in a minute, but you might be wondering, who are the potential volunteers? Well, sometimes folks will reach out. Okay, so we'll add them to the contact list. Many times I will reach out to staff members who we had on staff the prior summer and say, hey, if any of you are going to be fairly local, if any of you are still in high school, if any of you are even going away to college but would be interested in volunteering at camp when you might be home for a weekend or coming home for a weekend specifically to volunteer at camp. Staff is definitely the first place that we start. We'll also send out feelers to various churches saying, hey, we're in need of volunteers and trying to recruit volunteers that way. Once I have a contact list together of people who have expressed interest in volunteering or who I've just simply reached out to, whether that be former staff or whatnot, I'll send them a message similar to what you see on the screen here. And essentially, I will look at our calendar for the first half of the school year, essentially. So this is an example of the first half. I'd look at the calendar for August, basically through November. And I'd identify which are the big weekends that we have coming up, whether it's a weekend that we program ourselves, such as the junior high retreat that you see on there, or the senior high retreat, or whether it's a weekend that we are simply hosting. Like a rental group, such as the Browncroft Community Church Retreat or the Quilting Retreat or First Alliance Church Deary or anything like that. And I will look at the major dates that I know we will for sure need help in a variety of capacities. Again, it could be kitchen, it could be program, it could be housekeeping, whatever it might be. And I'll say, hey, here's below you'll see the lists of the dates that we're going to need help and that we're going to be in need of volunteers. Why don't you take a look at your schedule for the fall, for the upcoming months, see what weekends might work for you. Let me know which weekends you'd be available and interested in coming out, and then I'll go ahead and pencil you in. And now, again, with volunteers, sometimes they think they're going to be available, and then something comes up they're not able to, and that's kind of part of the nature of the beast, I think, to some degree. But at least with this process, this has helped me provide some structure and some sort of plan in terms of being able to think ahead, think with the long range view in mind in terms of recruiting volunteers, and it helps ensure that we're not scrambling 3 days before the weekend comes to try and get volunteers. So again, I just compile a list of the dates for the upcoming 3-4 months that we're going to need volunteers. I look at the list of volunteers I have, send out an email to them, and have them let me know what weekends they'd be available. And then we go from there. Typically, the week of, I'll send out reminders. Hey, or even maybe 2 weeks before, I'll send out a reminder. Hey, thanks so much for serving at camp and being willing to be a part of this ministry. Just as a reminder, we have you penciled in to volunteer the weekend of September 28th, 30th for the senior high retreat. You can arrive at this time at camp. You'll be housed in this cabin. So looking forward to having you. Just to make sure that the communication is clear, that we're on the same page, that nobody forgets or misses a beat anywhere. So again, I hope this helps, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.